We love a technical difficulty. Can we hear me now? Give us a yes. Give us a no. Give us a whatever you may want. Can you hear? There we go. Thank you ever so much, Joe. It's nothing like a good old technical mishap. Probably just needs charging, to be fair. You know, bloody technology, waste of things these are. Anyways, thank you for jumping on. You did actually miss the bit of me, choking the chicken here. But what this episode is going to be about, because it's Wednesday, it's that important time. It is an opportunity for me to give you all an update on what it has been like this week on the Mounjaro journey. Some special, kind of announcement about next week as well, because that's going to be interesting. And it's Wednesday, isn't it? So what have I been doing? I've been looking around the media. They're at it again, aren't they? The biased media, always at it. They seem to be dead set on bringing down Mounjaro or anybody who's using it. So that's something that I'm going to be going into later on. I hope everybody is okay. I hope everybody is safe and well. Bit of a mixed bag weather week so far, but we could be heading towards, we keep saying a heat wave. Not sure about that. I'd say it's got warm, but not necessarily a heat wave. But alas, here we are. So how have I been doing this week? So first of all, before I say anything at all, I just want to let everyone know that I'm really appreciative of the support I got on my last video. If you knew the absolute ball ache that it was to do that video for Sunday, for two reasons. One, I had a lot of clips to go through and to edit and put into place. But secondly, you probably won't know this, but I literally do everything on my phone. So all my editing, all my recording, music, this, that, and the other, everything's on my phone. And my phone did not want to play ball. It was being an absolute git the entire time, purely because it just didn't want to play. It didn't want to do anything. And so, yeah, that made things 10 times harder, but I know I appreciate the support. Did lose some subscribers from that video, but if that was you, bye-bye. Don't care. Well, crack on. You've got your own media you can watch. But again, thank you for those of you who have jumped on. And if you are watching this, thank you ever so much. Yes, just to go to Joe there, yeah, everything's done on my phone. So it's because people like us poor people, please, sir, can I have some more? I would love a PC. I don't have a PC, so unfortunately that's not an option for me. So I'm kind of limited by everything on my phone, but obviously in time, you never know. But yes, it was a good opportunity for me to really sort of be creative and play about with that video. But this week is going to be a little bit different on Sundays. It's going to be a different sort of thing. It's going to be more of a challenge on Sundays. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be interesting. So how have I been getting on? Well, this has been my second jab for 5 milligrams, and it still seems to be doing the job. At the end of the day, I was expecting it to maybe wane a little bit, but no, it still seems to be very strong. I do have to admit that on Sunday, after Harry Potter World, and I tore my hair out because of the video and this, that, and the other, I did have a pizza. I did, but I'll tell you what though, boy did I suffer for that. I really did. So all that night, heartburn, reflux, told you so, as everyone would say. It was, and I felt like that all of the Monday as well. And so it's just reminded me, look, Chris, you can't eat like that anymore. You can't do those kind of things. If you're going to have a pizza, it's going to have to be, well, probably smaller than that. Probably even smaller. That's big as my knob. But yeah, just I couldn't cope with it. And at the end of the day, it was not good. So I've kind of reminded myself, look, come on, stop being silly. You've got to have decent stuff. You've got to have less of it as well. And so really since then, because that's given me a kick up the backside, it's allowed me to sort of remind myself to sort of say, prioritize yourself. Yes, you had it. It was lovely as I was eating it, but not so much afterwards. For 48 hours afterwards, I like to say. Since then, I have had minimal sort of amounts just to sort of get my balance back into place again. And I would say I'm feeling good so far. Symptoms, because that's what everybody wants to know about, symptoms. Well, no. I watch these videos and I want to be able to come on here and say, do you know what? I just started bleeding out my ear one day, and then my eyes swelled up, and and I couldn't stop farting. But no, unfortunately, it is literally only the constipation. I love that word. Love that word. That seems to be the only thing. And actually, what's been quite nice is I've been finding more people, actually people from work, who are now on Mounjaro. And one person said to me, "You got the constipation?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, the secret C word that everyone talks about." "Oh, well, laxative, so what you need." "Yes, I know. It's just the only thing. If to be fair and to be honest with you, if that's the only thing that you're going to have from this, then love it. At the end of the day, that's I can cope with that. As I said previous videos, it was always the thought of the nausea that was going to put me off, because no, don't like it. I remember as a kid, I was a sickly child, just to let you know, and I would often be ill, and a lot of that would come with being sick or feeling sick, and it was always the worst thing. And not that I want to demonstrate, but I was very much someone, shall we say, sped up the being sick process just to stop being nauseous. Okay, but I haven't had it with this. And so fantastic. I think for me that's a bonus. I wasn't expecting it to be as smooth sailing as it is at the moment, but I'm perfectly sure that things might change later on. So absolutely. So how are you all getting on with your weeks? How have you found this week so far? It's only halfway through the working week. What are your non-scale victories? Because I want to know about that. Another non-scale victory for me is my clothes are getting bigger, baggier. They may not look it, because you can still see my lovely lady lumps. But the last t-shirt I had on, a lot bigger than it was. This t-shirt is definitely a lot bigger than it was. It's shrinking. So I'm interested to know what your non-scale victories are, and which is going to bring me on nicely to a very, very good bit of news about next week. So as you can see, I'm on my Sweeney Todd today. It's going to be a case of when I do my tea time live shows, it's not always going to be every week, because people have lives, and there's only going to be so many people. But I have got somebody rolled up for next week. Do you not worry? And I'm very excited for this one. So please make sure that you're tuning in for that, because I'm going to be going into more deep dive of Mounjaro, symptoms, that sort of thing. And to be honest with you, I'm really thoroughly looking forward to it. So make sure you keep an eye out. I will put an announcement out probably over the weekend, maybe on Monday. We'll see how it goes. Just still finalising a few things. But keep an eye out next Wednesday for a live stream. To be fair, from the way it's looking at the moment, it'll probably be Tuesday. So I may just have to move my diary a little bit. Obviously, it's going to be recorded as well. So if you can't make it, by all means, just watch it afterwards. Right. I've got a bit of a bone to pick, and it's with the deceitful media again. And I've got my little notes again here, because I wanted to go through this, because at the end of the day, a lot of people still look to the media. I don't know why, for the updates and such. And people keep sending me bits and pieces about like things that they saw in the media about Mounjaro, and things that they go, what, really? And I wanted to start off with this first one. Now, this was from BBC. Okay, so this is the BBC, and this was on one of their obviously on their news station, and this was an online piece, and it was about Mounjaro affecting people who are taking the contraceptive pill. Okay, and it was this big, long, drawn out article, and it was basically saying, oh, people are finding out that actually Mounjaro has an effect on the contraceptive pill and makes it less effective, and so on. And then there was this girl on there who was like, I started taking Mounjaro, and then 6 weeks later I found out I was pregnant, even though I was on the pill. And I thought, do you know what? They have made it so clear all the way through that do you know what? If you're going to take Mounjaro, you're going to need to be extra careful, because ultimately it's going to affect the way that the contraceptive works. I even recall, people saying to me that they've had their own GP contact them and say, well, look, let you know, if you're going to go on to Mounjaro, you've got to be extra careful because it can affect it. This seems to me a little bit like Captain Obvious for this person. It's a little bit like, oh, I took Mounjaro, contraception didn't work. Oh, okay, I stuck my fist up my arse and apparently it hurt. Funny that, it's I don't understand people, but of course the BBC were very quick to lap it up and to put about the dangerous effects of Mounjaro. It's you're all gonna have babies when you don't want them, and so on. I'm like, well, actually, if you was to read everything there is about Mounjaro, it clearly says in there, probably not best to do it if you're not trying for a baby or so on, because it can have an effect on that. But again, this deceitful, why do they do it? This deceitful sort of just zoning in, see, it has problems. And they weren't stuck there, because the BBC went on as well, because they think this is what annoys me. Okay, so Mounjaro affecting unborn babies. Okay, and if you have that as a headline, whoa, okay, whoa, Christ, that's quite a big ordeal. But when you actually read it, it said they don't know if it does. And I'm like, okay, so that, to me, that's the equivalent of saying, I know, oh, asteroid's going to destroy the Earth. We don't know if one's heading here or not. It's like, well, then why have you done a whole piece on it? That's what annoys me. So they've done this whole piece about, that Mounjaro could harm unborn babies. Maybe we think, actually we don't know. Okay, well, don't say anything then, because all you're doing is this environment of fear that is what they're putting into it. And actually, shame on the BBC, because they're so quick to go in on it. And making news maybe, but at the end of the day, this was from a little while ago that I found this news, and they've said it without backing it up. And at the end of the day, I'm like, well, anybody could say anything without backing it up. But when we've got this potentially brilliant medication that is going to help people, that's going to turn people's lives around, why are you then just so purposely trying to go in and just put people off it, just to continue to be overweight and miserable, just so the BBC can then run articles about how overweight the country is and how much it's costing the age? Because it's all about doom. Okay, it's all about fear and doom and news, and I'm sick of it. So this girl, Natasha Major, the one who started Mounjaro, and then 6 weeks later I was pregnant and I don't know how. Jesus, it's the artificial insemination. It's the Lord. It's okay. Another one that's come out that's been brought to my attention. Now, this has come from the Daily Mail, and apparently, I mean, I don't know about this, but Mounjaro affecting women, and I literally, I'm going to read it as it says: terrifying mental health side effects. Right, okay. Well, what do we mean by that? So they went into more detail. Sudden panic attacks, crippling anxiety, and a sensation of, and they've put this in speech marks, tugging in the brain. Okay. I think the only tugging in the brain is whoever wrote this, because at the end of the day, the amount of people that I follow who are women who are on Mounjaro, who have said, actually, my mental health is actually improved. It's not got worse. I mean, ultimately, I can't speak on my behalf. I mean, I would say it's actually got better for me, but I'm not a woman. But terrifying mental health, and the fact they used the word terrifying. Okay. So not just mental health side effects, terrifying mental health side effects. Let's just ramp it up a little bit. So sudden panic attacks, crippling anxiety, and a sensation of tugging in the brain. What do you guys think? I mean, obviously we have women here who take Mounjaro. Have you found anything like this? So crippling anxiety, sudden panic attacks, tugging in the brain. What is tugging in the brain? What is that? Let me know. Tell me if anything's affected you. This one was funny. This one was funny. People. So this was from people.com. Okay. I didn't even know this was a thing, this particular show, but Real Housewives of New Jersey, right? One of the members of the cast there, Dolores Catania, says Mounjaro stopped working for her and she gained 20 pounds. Do you know what happened, Dolores Catania? You probably just kept stuff in your face, even though you weren't supposed to. Let us just all remind ourselves, okay, that this is actually something that's meant to aid you. It's not meant to replace everything else. So if you take Mounjaro, you're still supposed to eat well, you're still supposed to exercise, you're still supposed to look after yourself. I would imagine that the Real Housewives of New Jersey star was just shoveling in the donuts and just taking Mounjaro and then going, why am I putting on 20 pounds? It's ridiculous. But of course, this was a news story. And not only was it on people.com, it was on Yahoo as well. It was on other outlets as well. Real. And the shit, I mean, I spent more of the time having to wrap my brain about Real Housewives of New Jersey. What the hell is that? So that was the news. The news that she's on Mounjaro, it stopped working and she put on 20 pounds. Stop eating. Stop eating then. Okay? You're on something that's meant to assist you. Okay? It's not meant to just say, oh, well, I'll still carry on having my fried chicken and I'll still carry on having everything. Oh, I put on 20 pounds. Have you? No shit. What do you expect? And then another one that I've come across, again, this was from the Daily Mail and it was also from Yahoo. This whole idea of Mounjaro face. Okay, and this one just wound me up something chronic. So they were following this particular person who'd lost 7 stone. Okay, and I can't remember what her name was. I didn't write it down because by this point I was having an aneurysm. But it was somebody who, excuse me, who'd lost 7 stone. And apparently she was trolled by people because they were claiming that she had Mounjaro face. And so I was a little bit like, well, what is this Mounjaro face? It's not Mounjaro face. It's called losing weight. So what they're basically saying is the people who've lost a lot of weight on Mounjaro, their faces start to look older. And what I saw here was it said, makes you look 15 years older. Right. Let me make something clear here. For those of you who obviously aren't part of this and because all the people who are part of this know and don't understand all this, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the who come and join these things, right? When you are overweight, generally you look younger. And why is that? Because your face and your skin is expanding out. So therefore you don't have the wrinkles, you don't have creases as much because the creases are pulled out they're plumped out basically by the fat. So therefore, if you're going to lose the weight, the skin's going to come back in, the fat is going to reduce, and you're going to get more sagging, you're going to get more wrinkles, you're going to get... So it's called losing weight. And before Mounjaro was even a twinkle in somebody's eye. We've all seen it before in news, magazines, newspapers, telly and all that. Oh, look here's Gillian. She's lost 48 stone in a day. Let's have a look at her. And you see her before and after. And yes, she looks better health-wise. But my God, does she look a lot older. But that's because that's what happens, okay? It's a trade-off, okay, between the two. Do you want to be extremely obese and your life's at risk, but you look a bit younger? Or do you want to be healthy, but you look a bit older? I mean, the fact that this was an entire news piece in 2 separate outlets, I'm like, so not only are you now going for people to sort of say, well, you got to be careful because, it's going to make sure that, it's going to make your contraception not work. And if you do go on it, well, you're going to look older as well. And, nobody will want to have a baby with you. Shut up. Shut up. And I'm so sick of the media doing this because ultimately you have got something here that, yes, there might be side effects that people don't know about yet. And there might be this and that and the other. But the media was very quick to push out the COVID vaccination. And yet we've got something here that's actually working. And at the end of the day, it's like, no, we can't have that. You've all got to be fat still. And you've still got to be miserable and buy our newspapers and be told about how useless you are. I'm sick and done with it. That's why I like you guys, because you guys are the real testers. You're the real community. Hey, there's nobody on here that I've seen so far who's kind of like tried to, shall we say, polish a turd. That's a very nice way of putting it. Everyone on here is warts and all, okay? I had a really bad time with the toilet, or someone says, you know, do you know what? I felt really dizzy and I felt horrible. Somebody else is like, do you know what? I couldn't be bothered to eat, okay? Nobody sat there and going, oh, everything's wonderful and everything's great. You guys are giving it all from sort of like left and right of the good, the bad, and then you're allowing people to make up their own mind. None of you are actually saying, oh, I'm from the medical profession and this is my advice to you. You are all of you, including me, essentially somewhat test subjects in this. Okay, so we're kind of documenting how we're getting on with this medication, and we're sharing our experiences of each other, and also sharing tips and maybe things to avoid. I'm not going to sacrifice that for the what was it, the fourth wall or whatever it is, the media, the fifth or fourth wall, whatever they should be put up against the wall. The media that just likes to do a narrative of whatever they want. Okay, so I don't trust it, and I mention things like this because in a way I find it funny. I find it so funny that they wouldn't be clambering onto something that actually, do you know what, this is a significant breakthrough for people who, I mean, think about it. Think of all the people who have passed away over the course of decades because they were overweight, because there was nothing that they could use that would help them out. And now, and actually, to be fair, they probably would have jumped at the opportunity of using something like Mounjaro. And yet here we go, no, it's wrong. No, you don't know what's in it. No, it's going to make your hair fall out and makes your gums bleed and makes your anus turn inside out. It's so, I know I'm going on about it, but it's just, for me, it's just so annoying because here we have something that we can really use. So all I would say to you is, whether you do or not, just ignore the bloody media. I'm getting sick of it. It's only going to be biased anyway, as we well know, like there have been with lots of things. So all I would ask for everybody, like I do as well, is just keep posting the truth, okay? If you have a bad experience, say you've had a bad experience. You've had brilliant experiences, say it, okay? Because what we want is, we want a balanced view of what is Mounjaro. What does it do, okay? I'm not expecting somebody to take it and just talk about the positives, nor am I expecting someone to just talk about the negatives, because there's got to be balance there as well. I'm not going to lie, I have struggled with the going to the toilet side of things. That has been annoying, I will admit, especially when there's times when you feel like you need to go, but you just literally can't. And whilst that's not a crippling thing, it is something that is like, do you know what, I feel like I just want to be back to normal in that respect. But that is all I've had. So let me just see. So let's just read Joe's comment. So I'm not convinced it is stopping the people who need to take this as medical. After all, you already said 500,000 already playing. Yeah, absolutely. I just wonder how many people would be taking it had the media not been slandering it every 5 seconds. Because I guarantee you, because there are still a percentage of people who live for whatever is said on BBC or anything like that as if it's the gospel truth. And to be honest with you, I think that they probably have put some people off, but I'm hoping that the more that we put things on here and to show, well, do you know what, I didn't grow an extra head or anything like that, that people go, well, these people seem all right. You basically say that we turn inside out, and yet all these people are trying it and losing weight. I mean, how many people can be so wrong? And if it is 500,000, I read somewhere else, actually, it was 1.2 million. So actually, it's probably increased even further from what I said last week. Are we all wrong? I mean, surely not. I don't know, but that was just something that I've picked up, and I'm just getting a little bit sick of it. Can you imagine if they discovered an anti-cancer medication, and they would give people were having to pay privately for it, and cancer was being eradicated? It didn't matter what cancer it was. People who were once told that they were terminal or something like that are now being saved, and they're able to continue with their lives and with their families. And it's all absolutely brilliant. There might be a few side effects, as you do with any kind of medication, but then all you ever read about is, no, you shouldn't be taking it. Shut up. okay, we don't want to hear about that. If it generally comes out that there is a big concern about it because they've done the relevant test and they've done this, that, and the other, I'm all ears. But to be honest with you, I would have probably heard about it from you guys beforehand anyway. And I'm fully prepared that this is actually starting to sound a little more of a rant live broadcast, which is why I need to just need to bring in a little bit more of my friend, here, because I can't help but laugh at him. So. Sorry, I can't help it. This is supposed to be for a child, and I am a child, to be fair. But there I am, choking the chicken. Don't record that. Don't snap that out and show anybody. So yes, so just to sort of just end this again as well, just to sort of say, look, next week, important tea time, sort of live, my little podcast that I'm doing. I've got a very special guest on next week, which I'm really looking forward to. And I want to thank you for your support again for the video that I put up on last Sunday. It took a lot of work. I'm not always going to be, let's be honest, asked to be able to do that. But it was a little bit interesting because I did lose a few people. But you know, if I'm not for you, well then, ta-ra, go find somebody else. But ultimately, thank you for the support. There are some subjects that I want to go into on videos going forward. Primarily, I do have one planned where I'm going to go into, I mean, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be nice, but it's one that I've really wanted to do for a long while. And that is where I'm going to go into my history of mental health, because it's quite in depth. It's not for everyone, and I would expect that it wouldn't be for everyone. And I'm going to make sure that it begins with a very sort of big warning. If you're not interested in this, then, you know, move on to the next one. But as an advocate, especially as I mentioned in my video, it's Men's Health Month. I really want to use this as an opportunity to sort of marry the two and be able to say, okay, well, this is, as a man, this is my experiences of mental health. Because Mounjaro is helping me not only with my weight, but it's also helping me with mental health as well. Because the weight ties in very closely to how I'm feeling, whether I'm feeling depressed or down or anything like that. And so the better I'm doing on Mounjaro, the better I'm feeling in myself. So if this can help anyone who's watching this, I mean, man or woman, it doesn't really matter, because everyone gets mental health problems. But this is going to be an opportunity for me to do a bit of a deep dive of my history of it, and I'll be able to put it up. And like I said, it's up to you if you want to watch it. You don't have to, but it's going to be there just to sort of give you a bit more of a background of me, because I guess the thing is, you don't really know too much about me. You don't know really much about where I've come from to get to here, to get to this little rectangular thing. So that's going to give you a bit more of an idea. And the more that I'm watching you guys, the more I'm finding out about you, which is absolutely fantastic. So all I can say is, if you are watching this after the live stream, then please like, please comment, please subscribe. And I'm going to roll it up there. So it's just myself for today. It's just going to be half an hour for today. And by all means, if you want to ask me any questions, or if you too want to appear on the Tea Time live stream, then my email address is on my channel. So by all means, send me an email and I'll get you booked in. Folks, thank you ever so much for jumping in. I'm about to go and kick the cat. Not really, but metaphorically, maybe in my head. I don't know. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves and leave the kids alone. They don't like it. Bye-bye.